This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, a podcast dedicated to educating and inspiring through conversations with today's top talents in the world of glass. We will be dissecting their journeys in hopes to deliver actionable content that you, the artist, can start implementing now, helping you grow not only as a creative spirit, but also a successful artistic entrepreneur. With a little organization, relationship building, and your artistic ability, you can obtain greatness. Climb aboard. Whether an artist, retail owner, or enthusiast, we have a ton of fun in store for you. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show.
You're listening to the Wise Guy Radio Show.
This episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by American Helix. The American Helix is a revolutionary new concept in smoking technology. Designed and manufactured by American glassblowers, this pipe is light years ahead of its time. Based on Bernoulli's principle, the shape of the pipe along with an innovative intake system creates a Venturi effect through precision microholes in the chamber, which results in a slower burn that conserves tobacco and gives a smooth, refreshing smoking experience, making the American Helix the smoothest hitting pipe on the market. For further info or to locate their products, you can find them online at AmericanHelix.com. That's AmericanHelix.com. Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show, episode number 165. This is your host, Jason Michael, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Today's episode features Jimi Newcomb, a.k.a. Jimi the Don. You can find him on Instagram at Mindful Glassworks, which is also the name of his glass company. And we had an amazing conversation. We talked really about everything but glass. We did cover a pretty good amount talking about glass, but really we both kind of struck a nerve with each other in a good way and just talked about life and business and what it means to live this lifestyle that we're living. And I think it's a common conversation that we have amongst a lot of the interviews and the guests we have on the show, but also just in common with each other in terms of conversations we have as glassblowers. And yeah, we got into a lot of just interesting coverage. I just really enjoyed it. I'm not even going to really get into it. It was exciting and motivating and humbling and made me think about my course in life and where I am right now. And I don't know, it's just for me personally, it was good timing, and I hope this is for you as well. So definitely reach out to Jimi, give him a shout out, give him a thanks, give him a follow on his Instagram. He's definitely an awesome guy, and just you'll hear it, I promise. It's too funny. Also want to let you know too that we now that the Flow magazine is now back on sponsorship, we've made kind of a fun deal with them where you can get 10% off your subscription at the Flow magazine just by putting in the code WISEGUY, WYZGUY at your checkout. If you don't have a subscription yet, definitely recommend getting this magazine. I've been putting it off for years and years and years. I don't know why. Just something that is kind of out of sight, out of mind. I don't really know. But this recent issue was their summer one, which was all about marbles. An incredible issue. They had a demonstration in there that I followed a technique of doing compression marbles implosions, which is something I've always struggled with. And just going through this process, I believe Alan Eaton is the artist that's covered in this particular one, or Alan Eden. I'll have you can just check it out. I'll put the links and everything in there. However, it's a really good, well done instruction, and to a point to where I was able to take from the photographs and came up with a couple marbles on my own, and I was pretty excited about it. So definitely just want to say that as a little plug for this magazine, because it's not only is it a really, really awesome, good read, but it's chock full of amazing information and knowledge and tutorials. And if you have some kind of idea about glass blowing, this will definitely be something that you need. And if you don't have any idea about glass blowing and you want to learn about it, it's also a great magazine for that. They have insights into the trade shows and the competitions and what is going on in the world of glass in general. So go to theflowmagazine.com, and again, if you go to check out and subscribe to the magazine, you get 10% off by using the code WISEGUY. So enjoy this episode with Jimi Newcomb, a.k.a. Jimi the Don, a.k.a. Mindful Glassworks. And we'll talk to you on the next episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show. Take it easy. Love you. Peace. What's up, Jimmy? Welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man. So just kind of a give it away. This is our take two on this recording. I had a whole hour in yesterday, and my stupid fucking recorder decided to have a personality disorder and stop working. So we get to recant what we talked about yesterday, which is good, and I'm excited for that. And yeah, so again, thanks for being patient and coming back on.
You know, a conversation's so good, we decided to do it twice.
Yeah, how about that? Like a fresh breath of air, or a cool breeze or something. I don't know where I was going with that. So that being said, man, before I go down a black hole here, let's if you want to start off by giving us your superhero origin story and where you got started melting glass.
All right. Well, I guess started lamp working in 2004, but the thought of it, the desire to do it, had been there since I was a little kid. When I was 6 or 7 years old or so in the mid to late 80s, and we went down to Disney World a lot back then, and went to Epcot Center, and wandering around Epcot Center. And as a kid, Epcot Center sucks, because it's all things that want to teach you something, or they have all the cities that you can go to, but you can't drink when you're a kid. So that's for your parents to enjoy. But
Yeah.
we're working on Epcot Center, and as you know, all this, working at Disney,
Mm-hmm.
and walking around Epcot Center, and we run into this little glass studio where they were lamp working and making figurines, and horses and dogs and cats and dragons and unicorns and everything. And I just remember being fascinated by it. It's actually one of my earliest, clearest memories, which is saying a lot because I don't remember like what I had for breakfast this morning. But I remember just standing there like in awe, just watching this person just make these little figurines, and it was so quick and it was so clean and they were so precise. You knew exactly what they were. It wasn't a interpretation of something. It was an actual figurine. It was that actual animal. I was like, I'm gonna make a horse. And they get done making a horse, and you're like, oh, that's a fucking horse. And so that was on my mind for a good portion of my life. And in high school, I used to melt bottles in bonfires at parties, and then I figured out kind of how to anneal them, because they would always crack. So I would dig pits next to the fire pits that we had, and fill it with coals, and put all the bottles that I shaped and melted and everything in there, and then I'd cover it with sand and more coals, and try to bring them down nice and slow. That way I could, give these things to pretty girls. And then I got into stained glass later on, and the early 2000s, when you could actually find stuff on the internet and look up stuff, I started looking into lamp working, and spent some time looking into it, researching it, finding what I could online, any videos, any books that I could find. And then I bought a bunch of tools and glass and a torch and everything else, and got into a little bit. Found a guy on MySpace, Morgan Schwartz from Mystic Glass in Connecticut. Went down and hung out for a weekend with him. Took a little class just to see what it was like. Shortly thereafter, I met this pretty girl. Threw a party at my house, and she showed up, and we got to talking, and I was like, that girl was cute. So I threw another huge party like the next weekend to get her to come back, and I made sure that I invited all the people that would invite her. And she came over, and we started dating, and dated for, a couple of years, on and off 1,000 times. And we set up in her parents' basement and blew glass down there for a while. That's really where I, took all those videos that I've been watching and try those techniques.
Heck yeah.
Learn how.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and learned how to make marbles and pendants and everything else. And, then one of the 1,000 times that me and her split and I couldn't blow glass in my parents' basement for obvious reasons. A couple of my friends wanted to get into blowing glass. So the three of us set up in my friend's grandmother's basement. That was myself, Charlie Reynolds, and Ed Hauser from Pass the Glass here in Rhode Island. And we would take turns. We had a major minor burner. It was all beat up and a box fan in the window, and you had to slip your body in past this pole, and it's like most people's first or second or third or 15th shops where you got to wear 7 layers in the winter, and you have a kerosene heater right behind you that's slowly burning your clothes and everything. And
right.
In the summer, you got all the doors open and just moths just flying in, just committing suicide right in front of you and exploding.
Kamikazes.
We did that for a long time. When the three of us were there, we would take turns, and you get up and you make a pendant, and then you step off to the side and drink a beer, and somebody else steps up and makes a pendant, and you just go in that order. So you don't really get a rhythm going, but you still get to work and you still get to hang out with your friends. And I did that for a while, and then in that time I was selling glass to people, and I was watching some people. Used to buy glass from PJ Davenport and watch him work a lot and get a lot of insight from him. I shared a shop with Jesse Haskins from Spro Glass for a while. I set up in the basement of a head shop at one point, just because I was selling to that shop, and I was telling him that I was looking for a space to go, and he said, set up in my basement. I set up in his basement, and I was vending at a festival one time, and Melanie Kanzler was there, from Fire Dance Class, I think, is what she goes by. And I had met her a couple times before, and she was blowing glass there, and she was blowing glass with her friend Bobby, who was an apprentice of hers at one point. And I met Bobby, and we just immediately hit it off and became really, really good friends. So then I was going down to his shop every other weekend for quite a while, and he was the first person that showed me how to make a pipe.
Nice.
I had clusterfucked my way through making a couple of pipes. I remember that's what I when I get to that festival, and my friend who I was vending with, she was like, "Oh, Jimmy," she was like, "Melanie's here. She's over there blowing glass." And I grabbed my case and went running over there to show her these shitty ass pipes that I made. And and it's my first chillum that you could stick your entire fist in, and look what I made. It's all crooked and weird colors, everything's bubbled out. And
it's got a 1 pound bowl in the front of it.
Yeah, so they looked at that stuff, and I got talking to Bobby, and Bobby was like, "Oh, Jimmy, come to my shop. I'm not too far away in Connecticut," and it was a couple hours away, but I started going out there, and he was the first person that was like, "All right, this is how you make a spoon. This is how I make a pipe," and he went through it and explained everything he did, and then he's like, "Okay, now you do it." And then he was over my shoulder, do this, don't do this, change your hand this way, and walked me through that one, and then he just got back in his torch and just started cranking out production, and I just sat there and started cranking out what I had just seen and what I had just learned. And every once in a while he'd look over and be like, "No, Jimmy, do this. Oh, no, Jimmy, do that." And that was one of the more important instances in my glass career was meeting him, not only because it made me a much better glass blower, but he was also one of the best friends I ever had in the world, and such an influence on me.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's to the point that we're constantly feeding off each other. He'll be doing something, I'll be like, "Bobby, how do you do that?" And for sure later he'll see something I'm doing, and I'll be like, "Oh, Jimmy, how do I do this?" And I'll show him something, and through the years, we've just grown so much together by, helping each other out and sharing everything with each other.
Yeah, it's huge.
And then when I met my now ex-wife, I was living in a tent in the woods behind my friend's house and blowing glass every day because it was summer, and I live in Rhode Island, and that's what you do.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So
sounds amazing.
That's not what everybody does, but that's what I did. So, it's not what you do. That's what I do.
Yeah, not in Florida.
What you may do. Yeah. And, then I was just doing that, having the time of my life, and I met this girl, and we were going to get married and have kids and all of that, and so I figured I should get a job with health insurance, and because I hadn't had health insurance in over 10 years. And I happened to find a scientific glass blowing job on Craigslist in my tiny little state. I took that job. I have since gotten divorced and not had any kids, but I've still been at that job for 5 years. And I work 4 or 5 days a week with Sean Conroy, who's a very, very good friend of mine. Very, very talented glass blower that used to make glass harmonicas and makes glass instruments now. Does a lot of casting. Very, very knowledgeable. And he's had a gigantic influence on me as well, just because of his overall knowledge, and also, he taught me how to be more precise, because a lot of the things that we make at work, the tolerance is very low. So, if it says that it has to be 130 millimeters long, plus or minus 0.25 millimeters, if you're outside of that range, they might reject it. And, some things you can fix, some things you can't, some things you just wasted all that time on.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting talking about that too, because I had Mike Souza on the show, and he's a scientific glass artist up at Princeton University. And it was interesting to him talking about that, the tolerances, and like when, like they now come to him saying, hey, we need this, this, and this, and he'll make a bubble, and they'll do like pressure tests on them just to see like if they can handle the pressure that they have to put into these things to test whatever their gases they're testing, and it's fascinating to have to constantly fine tune your work and make it so precise down to like the micron, like the smallest fucking measurement possible of pressure. Like you're saying, like you got to have these tolerances, especially because like a lot of this stuff's being used for NASA and for like all this major technology nowadays.
And that's that to me is one of the reasons why I've stayed at this job past when I probably could have left. I don't necessarily need to work there anymore because I'm not having kids, and I don't have a wife anymore, so I don't need health insurance for other people. But the job itself is it's fascinating. It's difficult, and the harder something is to make, the more it intrigues me. And even though a lot of times it's monotonous being there, because I have to, make 1,200 of this tiny little electrode or something, it's still challenging, and that keeps me engaged. It keeps me from getting bored, because it is so difficult. And I like to say that an idle Jimi is a dangerous thing. Right. So I'm very bad at being bored. That's when dumb shit happens.
Yeah, me too.
So I've been there for 5 years now, and that's been a big part of my journey as well. And a couple of years ago, I took all the money I had in the world, and I bought an old Bethlehem lathe, and so I could do a production line of tubes. And I started my company, Mindful Glassworks, and that was the beginning of me transitioning back to just working for myself at one point. And little by little, I'm getting there. I've been preaching baby steps to everybody for the last couple of years. You don't have to change your entire life in one instance. You don't have to just flip a light switch and now I'm different. if you want something, there's a path towards it, but there's all these, that path is made up of all these different steps, and you don't need to take these long strides necessarily. You can just go a little bit at a time. So I identified the direction I wanted to go in, and what the next step was, and I took that step, and then the next step, and I took that step, and little by little, I've been getting back to the point where I can support myself just making bongs and butt plugs and stuff like that. And eventually I will go back to that. But at the moment, here I am.
Yeah. Do you find too, like having the gig at the scientific place, it gives you a chance to really focus on your glass at home without stressing about it? Like, kind of like we talked about yesterday, about the whole not having ego in the shop and stressing out about your bills and shit, and just being able to go there and focus. But the fact that you have this, this, I don't want to call it a backup plan, but in a sense it is, where that if you go in the studio and your day goes to shit and nothing comes out, you're not stressing because you got a paycheck coming in. Like, do you think that is helping you in terms of fine-tuning your personal work at home?
I think so, yeah. I do rely on that to also help me pay my bills, because I didn't move out of, I still live in the same apartment I had when I was married. I still drive the same car. I pretty much doubled my expenses. So I kind of rely on that money to help me out. But having the, 40, sometimes 40 plus hours a week, definitely takes some of the pressure off, because I know that every 2 weeks, my bank account's gonna have money deposited into it, and I know that I've got paid vacation, and I have my birthday off, and and the health and dental and all that. It takes a lot of stress off you. Specifically, when you're getting up, to our age, when you kind of need that stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have health insurance for over 10 years, and as soon as I got it, I needed a surgery, and and then a year after that, I needed another surgery, and like 2 months after that, I needed another surgery. And if I didn't have health insurance, I would have been fucked. I would have been completely fucked.
Yeah.
That shit's not cheap.
Yeah, that's why I want to do a whole talk about like the fact that as a small business owner and an artist, it's in this industry alone, it's easy to run a business. It's like it's not easy to get started, but you can get started, and once you get started and you have a plan and a goal, then it's easy to maintain it. But like, it's so important to have like a self-insurance, like a self-employment pension, and there's different ways of going about being self-employed where you can have insurance and you can have your own retirement 401k set up for yourself, because it's shit adds up, even just putting $20 a week away into a savings account, paying taxes, like there's all that shit that we talk about, that is just so important that I don't think a lot of folks think about, that are living the day-to-day mentality, which I'm all about, living in the moment, but like, which I used to not think about the future. It's like, oh, I could just walk out today and get my car. Fuck it, I'm gonna spend all my money today. And then tomorrow I'm broke and I have no fucking money to feed my kids. It's fucking stupid, And I did that shit for years. Or it was like the mentality of, oh, I'll just go make a pipe and go sell it. But then you hustle and try and sell the pipe, and then you can't sell it. And then all of a sudden you have this glass piece that you can't eat for dinner, So, it's all the shit you got to think about. Like, you just gotta make plans and prepare. And it's again, as an artist, or even just being young, it's not always easy to think that way when you're in your 20s. You're gonna live forever. Kind of thing.
Well, a big part of that is a lot of people get into this lifestyle at such a young age, and they haven't learned really how to take care of themselves. They don't teach that stuff in primary school anymore. You don't learn how to balance a checkbook or do your taxes, or a lot of people don't even know how to cook. I have friends in their 30s who still can't cook. So a lot of people get into this, and they get caught up in the excitement of it. They think, oh, I'm going to blow glass, and everyone's going to think I'm the coolest thing ever, and life's going to be perfect, and I'm going to be a rock star for the rest of my life. And Um, they never learned how to budget. They never learned about finance. They never learned about business.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
even when I wasn't putting things in a saving account or a 401k or buying stocks or anything, I used to have envelopes in a safe. That's how my father taught me uh, how to save and how to budget. You'd have all these envelopes, and on each envelope is something's written down. Like I had an envelope for concert tickets, I had an envelope for glass shop, I had an envelope for new glasses, I had uh, uh, an an envelope for tires. So every week you take a little bit of money and you put it in these envelopes, and eventually, you have an envelope full of the amount of money you're looking for. You need to put tires on your car. You go look in the envelope and you got a couple $100s in there, or even if you have $40 in there, you have $40 more than you thought you had.
Yeah, exactly.
And luckily he taught me that in my early 20s, so I became good with money pretty early on. And and as we were talking about yesterday, I got into business management at a very young age. So when I was 19 years old, the restaurant I was working for wanted to make me an assistant manager, and and I cleaned myself up a little bit that way I could do that, and I've just been doing that pretty much ever since. Every time that I go back to work for somebody else, I end up running a business for somebody or helping to run a business for somebody, because it's just naturally that just makes sense to me. And in between all that stuff, I would take off and go live in the woods in Ohio, or go live in Arcata, California, or just go on tour with some cute girl with dreadlocks and and a tattoo on her face or something. Just whatever the hell, whatever interested me at the time or excited me at the time. Sometimes you see something shiny and you're like, ooh, that's shiny, and you want to pick it up. Sometimes that would be quitting my job and it was giving away half my shit and getting in my car and driving across the country.
Yeah.
Because there was a shiny new state to live in, or some shiny new lady to chase around the country, or but then every time I would stop and settle somewhere, I'd end up managing somebody's business for them. And that has helped so much with my glass career, because right from the very beginning, as soon as I started to make anything with some consistency, I was able to also see it as a business. And I still love and still love the lifestyle of I'm going to stay up for 2 days straight and blow glass because I feel like it. And if you need to take a random day off, you take a random day off and go do something fun. But I still have kind of a regimen. I know the hours I need to work. I know the amount of products I need to make. I set a time frame for myself. I used to have, as we talked about yesterday, I used to have an Excel program that I drew up that was a formula that when I get to the end of making a product, I would time myself when I was making it. And then once it came out of the kiln, I would weigh it. I'd plug in the weight and I'd plug in my time, and it would do a calculation and tell me the very base that I need to get for that product to make the amount of money I wanted to make, to make the profit that I wanted to make. And that to me is so important. It's something that like not a lot of people you see in the industry understand at first, or sometimes ever. And you see a lot of people that they're starving artists. They complain about having to work too much and not being able to pay their bills, or they're always liquidating stuff at the end of the month so they can pay their rent. And this isn't always the case, but some of those people, at least, if they just understood the business side of it a little better, or focus more on the business side of it, they might not have that problem every month. I have a full-time job now, but I used to just work for myself, and I made more money doing that than I do at the job that I have. now, even with the benefits and everything included. I still made more money working for myself, and I set my own schedule, but I set that schedule. So I might not work Monday through Friday, but if I want to take a Tuesday off to go to the beach, I go to the beach. But then on Sunday, I'm going to work, and some days I work 8 hours, days I work 12 hours. Whatever needs to be done. But that's something that a lot of people don't really focus on. And like I said, I think it's because a lot of us got into this so young before we really had to learn a lot of it, before we had to learn how to, budget, and before we had to learn how to do our taxes, file our taxes. And then the next thing you know, you're in your 30s and you got tattoos on your knuckles, and you're still struggling to pay your rent every month.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I can say that in my late 30s, I have tattoos on my hands, but I pay my rent on time every month, and I save money, and I have a 401k, and I own stock. I go on vacation. I live comfortably, and I'm not rich by any means, but what I do have, I live within those means. I have a nice apartment. I drive a cute little Kia. I live with a cat. She has food all the time. I go to concerts. I enjoy my life very much, and I'm able to do that because of glass. 13, 14 years into it, I'm at a point where I can support myself, I can live comfortably, and I can do the things that I want. And a lot of that is because I was brought up with that business mindset, and I brought that into it from a very early period,
mm-hmm.
rather than trying to get into it later on and try to figure out later on.
Yeah, man, it's cool that you still, because it's a lot of times it's like it's the whole bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink thing, and it's like we can talk about this shit till we're blue in the face, and I would be curious to see what percentage of the audience would take action at this kind of stuff that isn't taking action, because it's so easy just to start doing it, but you got to have the tools. Because like myself, I grew up in business. Like my grandparents were business owners. My dad was a musician and an artist, and was self-employed as a designer and stuff. He works for Lowe's as a kitchen designer now because he was just tired of fucking around with the industry. He'd have customers come to his shop, and then they would take his designs to Lowe's or Home Depot and have them done there, kind of thing. Yeah. So he was like, if you can't beat him, join him kind of bullshit, when he's in his 60s. So I've been around it, but they never really showed me the business side of stuff and I had to learn that on my own. Like I went to Subway and worked at Subway for 7 years, and I tell people that, and they look at me cross-eyed like I'm fucking crazy. But it's like, if I'm going to work for somebody, I'm taking complete full advantage of whatever knowledge I can get out of that situation. And I learned everything from how to do production. I mean, literally doing production, doing our prep work in the morning and cranking out 100 sandwiches an hour at lunchtime kind of shit. It's no different than what we're doing in pipes, and then learning the business side of it and learning how to manage my time. And, it takes self-discipline. And don't get me wrong, man. I mean, I know you're probably just like me. It's like, now that we're older, self-discipline's a little easier to do, but it's still a struggle. But, like you're saying, you want to go to the beach on Tuesday? Cool. But that you have to then work on your other day that you would have off instead. So you got to sacrifice that day, and stay regimented and stay scheduled and stay organized. But it, like my personality and the way I've always been, which I'm breaking out of here now that I'm 40, but it's like I go buy a planner or a business book or some kind of scheduling tool, and I'd get organized, and then I would forget that I was fucking organized, like people are like, well, I don't clean my room because I know where all my shit's at. It's like, well, fucking start cleaning your room and put everything in the same place every time, then you'll know where your shit's at. It's just you just gotta fucking start doing it. And I love that you brought up like the envelope system. Like that's, like again, my parents never taught me. I mean, my parents were divorced, but individually they never taught me how to like do my checkbook or how to any of that kind of stuff. And before I started doing this podcast, I came across Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey's a big into understanding how to manage your money and simple forms and stuff. Like he has these baby steps that you go by, but one of his things is the envelope system, and he talks about that all the time. How you get your money, you get $1,000 in, you need to break it all up into your material costs that it costs you to make that $1,000, all your overhead first, but then. Just recently, I came across this show and book. It's called Profit First, and I'm actually in the middle of trying to bring the guy on, Mike Michalowicz, onto the show. It's a great podcast, but their whole philosophy is all about paying yourself first. But he also has it set up to where you have like 6 or 7 different accounts at different banks. Like you have 2 different banks you work with. You have one bank that has your primary checking account for your personal stuff. You have your business account there. You have 2 separate savings accounts for emergency funds or whatever. And then you have at another bank or an institution that you don't go to and you can't touch, you then have your money that is allocated there for your taxes and also for a savings account. That was where you put your profits at. And he says profit first because even if it's just 1% that you pay yourself at from right off the top of the deck, at least you're putting 1% away to yourself. And his whole thing with his profits is every quarter, you then take your profits that you paid yourself, and then you go have fun with it. You don't spend it on anything in the business, nothing. That little bit of money that you put aside is for you to do whatever the fuck you want to do with, because you're already saving money for your rainy day fund. You already have your taxes saved up, like all that stuff. And, there's like the gap principle where you take, it's like the basic accounting principle where you take, okay, I made $500. I now know that it cost me $250 to make that, so I take the $250 out. I take 15% towards taxes, and then I have what's left over as my profit. But to go with the profit first principle, he's helping accountants like change their mentality of how to go about doing this accounting practice, because like the gap principle has been around for a century or so that this country's based itself on, and to get to the mentality, because again, like what we're doing as artists, it's a lifestyle for us. It's a unique opportunity to live this lifestyle that we want to live and do what we want to do and travel the world and be artists and what have you. But you got to have a set standard practice of your accounting, and by going through whatever it is, you got to do something. You can't just like make your money and be like, oh, let's go have some fucking fun tonight. Because I'm like, I think the worst place for these trade shows is in fucking Vegas. I get it because it's like the convention center of the world, but you got some of these guys and gals that have no self control. They'll go there and make $10,000. It costs them $5,000 to get there and set up and sell all their shit. They sell all their glass that costs them $5,000, but they got $10,000 in their pocket. But really, that $10,000 just paid for their trip and for all their materials. And then they go to the casinos or the strip clubs or whatever, and they go home with $5 in their pocket, and they just realize that, wow, I didn't do anything. I just worked my ass off for 6 months just to come here and get fucked up and blow my money on casinos.
And not only did they blow the money while they're there, but the time that they're there, they're not working.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's also more money that they're losing, and that's something that we talked a little bit yesterday about. I think we mentioned like little things that people miss, and that's something that a lot of people in that situation might miss. They might say, oh, this trip just cost me, this much money. But something they might not take into account is the week that they've been gone, they could have been working, 8 to 10 hours a day, and they're also losing that much money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like my drive to work, I have an hour and a half one-way drive. Like I'm actually moving out there in September to cut back on that, but like I have to take 3 hours and add that to my time that I'm on schedule, and then divide that by what I'm getting paid to get my real pay scale. Because I have to. So
hey, you want to hear one of my favorite sounds in the world?
I'd love it.
Did you hear that?
I did. The hell was it?
It's a can of cider.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah. Well, I guess it is 12:30, so yeah, there you go.
Well, I get the day off. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of cider is it?
It is a down east cider. I think this is from Vermont, maybe, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I love where like the whole craft drink industry is going right now. It's neat.
I don't drink that much anymore. I mean, I would probably have a drink a day, but when I do, I certainly enjoy them.
Yeah, same here.
Uh, you know, I told you an anecdote yesterday about a friend of mine who, always has a lot of glass stock, and um, he'll get to a point where he liquidates it all, because he might need money or just wants it gone, and he'll sell it for, like $3,000 or something, and then in his eyes, he's like, I just did a $3,000 sale, but not taking into account that all the time and effort that went into making it, his profit is probably very negligible because he just sold it for, he just sold $5,000 worth of glass for $3,000 just to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And and then when you bring that up, somebody like that will say, "Well, I've got $3,000 in my pocket," not taking into account that they didn't actually make that much profit, and the little incidental things that a lot of people miss when they're calculating, their expenses. Sometimes you miss little things. The amount of time it takes to drive to get your oxygen if you have to do that, or I've talked to a ton of people over the years where they show you something, or you're at their shop and you're hanging out and they're making something, and you're talking about pricing and things like that, and somebody will say, "Oh, I make these. It takes me 8 minutes to make one of these, or 20 minutes to make one of these, 45 minutes to make one of these," and a lot of times I've noticed that people like that, they're not taking into account. Sometimes they're not even taking into account prep at all. So if they're attaching tubes together, to make their blanks and everything, sometimes they don't take that time into it, or they don't take in the time of uncrating all the glass and cleaning the glass and cutting the glass down, whether they're snapping it or flame cutting it or cutting out a saw. And they miss all that time. So they say, "Oh, I get this much money for this product," but they're missing a lot of things that go into it. And I think that's another thing that leads to people at the end of the month. Oh, I gotta sell all this. I gotta sell half of the glass that I've collected from other artists because I need to pay my bills, or I've got a case of glass that I made, and I can't wait for a couple of days to go talk to a shop. I need to sell it all cheap right now. That way they can pay their bills.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these tiny little things that a lot of people miss, and missing those things, it all adds up. It's
Yeah.
I have a friend who makes a good amount of money but never has any money, and the thing that I pointed out to him, I was like, well, every time you pass by a convenience store, you stop and you get a pack of cigarettes, you get a bag of Doritos, you get a Coke, and you get a scratch ticket, and that happens multiple times a day. And then that person, has a kid in the car and gets a kid a candy bar or gets a kid a toy or something, and all that stuff adds up. So at the end of a month, all those little stops add up, and then you take that month and multiply that by 12, and over the course of a year, you're spending a lot of money on these tiny little things, and you don't even take that into account when you're looking at your finances or budgeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Something I've pointed out to a ton of people is you just look at food as an expense, and if you only spend $10 a day on food, that's $300 a month. That's a huge expense.
Mm-hmm.
That's twice what my car payment is right now. That's like more than twice what my car payment is. And how many of us only spend $10 a day on food? It's the tiny little things in life that you end up missing that end up being so detrimental and so important. And that's something that I think a lot about still, but I spent a lot of time thinking about trying to identify all these little things, and even if you have to make a list of them, that way you can keep it fresh in your brain, you can pay more attention to them.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then those don't get out of control. Oh, that sounds delicious.
Oh, you still there, man? I lost you for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I was taking a sip.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, man. But it's so true. Something I've come across recently. It's going back to Dave Ramsey's. He came up with his company developed this app called Every Dollar, and it's basically a budgeting app, and it's so simple to use. And I've been using it to and they say it takes like 90 days to get yourself a really good, to get used to your budget because things come up that you weren't expecting, etc. But I'm just as guilty as anybody else to hit the Starbucks once a day or every couple days or whatever. And it's like I go through my coffee expenses sometimes, and it's like I'll spend $300-$400 in a month on fucking coffee. It's like I think I spend most of my money on beverages over anything. It's fucking stupid. It's like okay, a lot of it is just routine because I'm a very routine kind of person just in general, and when my routine's thrown off, it throws my entire day off or week or whatever. I mean, it sucks. It's just a mental fuck I get. But it's like I drive by Starbucks if I want a coffee, and I'm like, all right, and I have to say to myself out loud, so I actually hear myself saying, "Keep fucking driving, asshole," and I just keep on driving, And then it feels good, and I'm like, cool, I accomplished that. It's like being a crackhead, and you're like, I'm trying not to smoke crack anymore, and you drive by your crack dealer's house, and it's like, okay, don't go buy any more crack, asshole. And I feel like that way about this kind of stuff, but it's just because it's just stupid routine bullshit, and a lot of us get in those habits, like you're saying, your buddy going into the convenience store and buying all those little knick-knack things, and it's just a lot of it's just routine and habit, and it's that death by 1,000 cuts thing, and it's amazing how fast that shit adds up, and it cuts into your profits. And that's why it's important. Again, we talked about separating your money. If you're all your money's going into one account, you cannot keep track of how much that money that you're pulling out of there is coming out of your business, at all. And if you have a business savings account, you're going to be more apt to want to go jump into that thing and take money out of it. Like we were saying yesterday, it's like you're in a space where you have the discipline to know that if you have $1,000 in the savings account and you need to go buy tickets for a concert, you cannot touch that $1,000 in that savings account because it's not allocated for that. It's allocated for if your fucking torch takes a shit, And I hear like listening, not listening, but Carl Termini hurt himself pretty bad doing jujitsu or some martial arts stuff he was doing, and it's a wake-up call for a lot of people to see an artist like him who is a name in the industry and who's he's a killer guy in general, human being wise, and an awesome artist, and seeing him struggling trying to go through to work, if he could have potentially, or anybody in that situation could have potentially saved up like a 90-day emergency fund, then you could actually take that time off and heal and then get back to work full strength. It's just, and I hate to bring him up as a name, but it's just an example that a lot of us listening to, know who he is, and what's that?
Name drop.
Yeah, exactly. Without not trying to throw him under the bus, but he's an example because why I bring him up because he's very transparent with his life, and he shares things about his struggles, and he always laughs about it. Like he'll post a piece of glass and he gets like 10,000 likes, then he posts like some veggies he pulled out of his garden, he gets like 10.
Yeah.
And I'm the one liking his veggies over his glass, kind of thing. But that's just my personality. But it's so important to talk about this kind of stuff, and it's something I haven't talked about in a while, and I want to continue to talk. Do some individual shows again on this kind of stuff because it's so easy just to set up a simple budget. Now, a question for you too, just to kind of thinking about things I've talked about in the business sense. When you're calculating, like you had your formula, you weigh your piece out when it's done being made. Are you calculating any things that were removed, like a blowpipe or some glass scraps? So are you taking that into consideration?
Yeah, I kind of added that into, I took an average based on the product. So, say the first time I made not the first time I made a wrap and rake spoon, but say when I decided, okay, this is the shape and the size of the spoon that I'm going to make, then at the beginning I would take all the raw glass and I would weigh it. So, say I take out a stick of double amber purple or something like that. I would weigh that before I made the piece, and then when I was done, I would also weigh it, so I know how much color went into it.
Mm-hmm.
I would weigh clear blank, so I know how much went into that, and then I would assume, a couple of so many pieces of 4 mil or or so many pieces of 7 mil into each piece, and I would, weigh that and then take that into account, and then I came up with an average for each product. So when I would weigh the product when I was done, when it would come out of the kiln, then I had a list. I said, okay, this product on average cost me this much per gram or this much per ounce. So then I throw that on a scale and I plug that number into my Excel program, and then plug my time in, and it would spit out a number that told me, okay, this is what you need to get wholesale from them. And I prefer to do wholesale because then there's just way less to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather walk into a store with, cases full of glass and have them take everything off my hands than, try to sell them online or I used to vend at a lot of shows, and that's I mean, it was a great time, and I still plan on vending here and there as life progresses, but that's a lifestyle that it's hard on you to begin with, and especially as an artist, if you're going to all these shows and fairs and concerts and festivals and everything and vending, that takes up all your time. So when do you have time to blow glass?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'd rather just have a handful of shops that I deal with or distributors that I deal with, and I also I really like getting orders. It's great to go sit in your shop and make a ton of something, make 100 of this or 50 of this or 200 of this or 1,000 of these, and then go out and try to sell them or do cold calling, trying to find shops to take them. But it's great when you get to a point where shops will call you up or send you a text or an email or a Facebook message and say, hey, I need 100 of these, or I need 12 of this inline tube and 12 of this tree perk, and that's what I prefer, is when I just get these messages saying I need a dozen of these, 2 dozen of these, half a dozen of these, 100 of these, and then that allows me to plan better. Then I can say, okay, well, how much time do I need to do that? It takes me this long to make this product, so that means I would need so many days to make it, and then I can look at what my schedule is like for the next week or two and say, okay, these are the days that I can work, and then I know, if it's a Tuesday night and I have to go work for 4 or 5 hours, I know that a couple of days in advance, and when I go to work that day, at my regular daytime job, I know that when I'm done, I have to drive to my shop and I have to work until around this time to make so many of this product. And if I didn't do that, if I didn't plan that out, then I don't plan very far in advance, but if I didn't plan that out a little bit in advance, then, sometimes you get to the end of that Tuesday, you work an 8-hour shift, and it's like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do anything. Shit, am I supposed to blow glass right now? But
exactly.
If I know I have to do the beginning of the day, no matter how that day turns out, I still know I have to go do that, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to go do it.
Hell yeah.
And I should use that to excite myself, as the day wears on. And my job isn't, I'm not the type of person, as we were talking about yesterday, I haven't had a bad day in years. I don't have bad days. I don't really get angry, upset, no matter what's going on in my life and specifically at work. I show up and I do my job, and I do it to the best of my abilities, and that's really all I can do. So, but you get to the end of a long shift, and you're getting kind of tired. You're like, oh man, I am looking forward to going to do something else. But then I start thinking to myself, it's like, oh man, I get to blow glass tonight. I get to make this tonight. I get to work on my lathe tonight, and I fire myself up and I get excited about it. And then I go to my shop and I put on some Cyndi Lauper and dance around and sing songs and blow glass and have a good time. So it keeps me excited about what I'm doing. And having awesome. having that plan allows me, as I said, to know how long it takes me to make something, and I can give people a more specific deadline when I say, when they say, oh, I need a dozen of these, and I look at them, I'm like, okay, let me think about that. I'm like, all right, well, I can bring them to you, next Saturday. And I know that I can do that because I know what my schedule is like in between when I got the order and when I say that I can deliver it. I know I can work on this day for 8 hours, this day for 2 hours, this day for 4 hours, and be able to get this order done. And then I'm never I'm never struggling to get anything done. I'm never, although sometimes I do stay up all night blowing glass because I want to. I haven't had to do that in quite a long time.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, when somebody says, when you tell somebody, oh, I'll bring this order to the store, on Saturday, and then you flake out and you don't blow glass one day because you're hungover, or you feel like sitting on the couch watching cartoons, or or a concert comes up and you decide to go do that, and then the day before you're supposed to deliver that, you're up all night, and you see things like that sometimes on social media. Somebody will post that, they're supposed to be somewhere. They're supposed to be at an appointment at like 2:00, and they're like waiting for the kiln to cool down. That way they can take things out of the kiln and make it to this appointment and sell this glass. And not only is that stressful to the artist, but it's also stressful to the glass.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't anneal things properly because they're in such a rush all the time.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to come up with a name for like the lightning round, and that's why I call it the crash in the kiln round, because I know we've all been guilty of it, dude.
We certainly have.
But hey, man, that being said, I'm going to hit stop real quick and save this part of the recording just because I'm almost at an hour right now, just in case. So, and while it's saving, I'm going to go pee real quick and get a coffee refill,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll be like back in like a minute.
Okay.
All right, give me 1 second.
All right. Once I started microdosing like a few years ago, it just completely changed the way that I am in public. Now I can joke around in a small talk situation and feel comfortable.
Huh, that's interesting. I know Tim. I think it was Tim Ferriss. He has an awesome podcast, but I think it was his show. And they had these two doctors on, and they were talking about microdosing, and they're doing it under supervision, kind of set up, and like they're doing it with people that have post traumatic stress disorder and like all kind of crazy shit. That they're coming out of these sessions like, no longer having this stuff, and it might take like 3 or 4 sessions. But there was one in particular that did a study, and I think it was like 30 professionals that had an issue that they were trying to solve, that they had to at least tried to solve it 10 times to qualify for this thing, and then they brought them all into this room they brought them in to have them help them solve their problem by microdosing. And it was like I don't even know what it was like tiny about, and I think they said like 95% of like it was like 27 of 30 were able to solve their calculations or whatever it was that their thing was. And like one, for instance, which I can't remember, but there was I think the guy was an architect or an engineer, but he had this new complex he was building, and it was down in Miami, and he was trying to figure out a way to make this specific looking like overhang kind of gimmick that people can walk under that would keep them from getting wet. And he had to have a certain design to it, and he was trying to figure out this specific bolt, I guess, down to like the nuances of what to use, not only for the function but also for how it looked, the aesthetic value of it. And he was able to, in his microdose, in his trip, visualize him actually like being in the space, looking up at the awning, seeing the bolt, everything. And then he was on paper writing everything down and drawing these pictures and shit, like crazy stuff. But it's amazing how LSD, for whatever reason, it's able to trigger certain parts of our brain like that. Those parts that we don't use. It's amazing.
I think it helps to break down like I was saying about how we're brought up to not admit the way that we really are. We're brought up with all these like walls and defense mechanisms, and I think what hallucinogens in general do is they help you to forget about that. It's the ego loss that I think is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that, that to me completely changed my life, was finding hallucinogens, because, you know, my father's influence on me my entire life was trying to be one of these Northeastern boys. He wanted me to play sports, because he played sports, and he wanted me to, play sports and love cars, and,
Be the manly man.
see girls as objects and everything. And I'm just none of those things. Like I'm good at sports, because I've always been spry and in pretty good shape, but I don't give a fuck about sports, and I don't care about driving fast in a car. And, most of my friends are either girls or gay men, because I just get along with them better. So I'm not going to like see girls as objects like a lot of boys do.
Mm-hmm.
And, my entire life, he was, and he's a very good person, but he's very, early 60s greaser. So he was trying to bring me up to be that certain type of person, that certain archetype of a man. And I'm just not that. And finding hallucinogens allowed me to, it helped me realize that I don't need to be that, and it allowed me to come up with my own idea of what I'm supposed to be as a person. And it led me to being this.
Yeah, man, that's fucking awesome. I just before I forget, are you okay that we're recording this or not? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, because I mean, it's some deep stuff. So yeah, I think it's gonna touch the people though. I think it's good shit.
There's nothing I'm ever gonna say that I'm not okay with people hearing.
Cool.
That's a promise I made to myself at one point in my life. Was I'm not into secrets, and I'm not into. I mean, I want to share everything that happens in my life, everything that's on my mind, for better or for worse, and all you can really hope for, in my opinion, in life, is to find other people that feel the same way, and listen to what you have to say, and you can listen to what they have to say, and that's always been very important to me. It's been very important to me to. Once I, like I said, once I realized that I don't need to fit into that archetype of a typical boy, specifically a typical Northeastern boy, what I want to do is I want to talk about that. I want to share that with people. I want to express that, because maybe I can help other people realize that. There's a great. It's like a documentary, I think you would call it. I believe it's called the Mask We Live In. I could have that off a little bit, but that's basically what it's called, and it's pretty much about that, like the way that we raise boys in our society. When parents, when fathers tell them, like, boys don't cry and walk it off, and you got to be tough and don't act like a girl and all this, and I think that really damages young men. I think saying those things to them and implying those things to them really fucks up their life. When I still have very, very close friends that, in their 30s and 40s, that would be afraid to cry in front of somebody, specifically another man. Mm-hmm. Somebody in your family dies, and you're afraid to show that you're upset. You're afraid to cry, to show that it hurts. And it's such a horrible way to live, to not be able to express your emotions or feel your emotions or share your emotions. And that's something, luckily, like I said, it was kind of implied to me that I was supposed to be this certain way. And, and maybe that works for some people, but it doesn't work for me. I'm a very emotional person, and I want to feel my emotions. I want to share my emotions. Specifically, like I was saying yesterday, there's, negative emotions I don't want to feel. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be jealous. I don't want to feel any of those emotions, because they get in the way. I want to feel as many positive feelings as I can, and I want to share them with people. if I could, if my happiness was a physical thing that I could then take and dole out pieces of it to people, I would, and that would be, everything to me, to be able to share that happiness with people.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Well, you're sharing it right now, man. It's good shit. You got good. It's yeah, it's good to hear because we need more of this kind of talk. Like I'm all about talking about glass, dude. Like I love fucking glass. I mean, you're the same way. Like I'm gonna do it until my dick falls off. But we're so much more than being the glasses and just part of, that's what we do. It's what makes our money. It's our passion, but we're more than that. And it's good to talk about that kind of shit. Like you're saying the sports thing, I always kind of laugh about that shit. Cause like I'm a sports fan myself, but like when I'm at a sports game, I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and it's just how I'm the same way. I'll just like to talk about everything else, but then about what's going on around us at the time, unless I'm watching a movie or something like that, I'll comment about it. But that being said, it's still nice to just have a fucking real conversation about people. Like when someone's like, hey, how's your day going? I'm not gonna be like, well, I got up this morning and took a shit and brushed my teeth. Like I'm not gonna get into full details, but it's like if I'm in a shit mood, I'm gonna tell somebody. But if I'm in a great mood, I'm like, dude, I'm fucking awesome. I don't like when I hear people say, oh, I'm good. I'm like, why are you, or people come to work that are guests of ours. I'm like, hey, how's everybody doing? They're like, oh, we're doing all right. I'm like, you're all right. How, and I give them shit for it. I'm like, you guys should be fucking having a blast. It should be fantastic. And they're in our store covered and wearing their ponchos because it's raining outside, but it's like, dude, you're fucking Disney. Live it up. You're wet in the rain. It's fun. Enjoy it. Be a kid.
Life is so fragile, and it's so chaotic, it's so unknown, and I don't understand how people can't enjoy that. Like it could end at any second. Just enjoy the shit out of it. The way that I see any relationship in life, whether it's romantic, friendship, professional, whatever. If you find somebody in your life that makes you happy, spend time with them. You continue to enjoy that time that you're going to.
Hey man, Jimmy, I hate to cut you. You're breaking up a little bit, dude. I hate to cut you off. I don't know if you're in a weird place in the house.
Sometimes I do have weird surface here. Can you hear me now?
Yep, much better.
Okay. I also don't have the headset, like the earbuds in, because I left them at my studio and I'm at home right now.
Oh, okay.
So that might have something to do with it as well. Yeah, like I don't understand how. I mean, personally, like I said, like I don't want to feel negative emotions. I don't want to be angry. Like I don't want to be anxious. I try very hard to not feel that way because it gets in the way. It gets in the way of enjoying life as much as I can. And as I started talking about yesterday, I think it might actually been shortly before we realized that we weren't recording anything.
Mm-hmm.
I named my company Mindful Glassworks for a reason, because mindfulness is something that I've been exploring very deeply for 15, 20 years or so, like trying to actually connect with that concept of seeing things the way they are. And it's not about seeing the good or the bad. It's about seeing things the way they are. And sometimes it's little things like you were saying that you spend a lot of money on beverages, and every time you pass by something, you pass by like a Starbucks or something, and you're like, oh my God, I want that. To actually acknowledge that you are that way, then it allows you to decide whether you need to change that or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Or one thing that I notice about myself, and a lot of other people are the same way, and I have since been able to change this about myself, was the anger and frustration you feel when you're working with glass and in life in general. But when things aren't going your way and you get frustrated and you get angry and you throw what you're working on, or you swear at what you're working on, and that stops the creative process, because now you're just thinking about how you fucked up, and and now you're struggling to make something else quick or fix this thing that you fucked up. And besides the fact that gets in the way of your own creative process and your own life, and that also drags your own mental and emotional state down, also affects the people around you. So your frequency, like if you're have all these negative emotions that you're expressing, and there's other people in your shop, that affects them as well, and that's not fair. So when things aren't going your way, and you're fucking piece of shit, and you're throwing things across the shop, and you're stalking around, and you're sulking in the corner, all the other people that are trying to blow glass in that shop, they're affected by that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not fair to them, because they just came to work with a positive outlook and a positive attitude, and they want to get something done. They want to create, they want to they want to blow glass, because that's their lifestyle as well. And you being in a bad mood and expressing it openly like that, and stomping your feet, and and stalking around, that brings them down as well. And that's something that I said to myself, that I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be that person again. I never wanted to be the person that I would be, in a bad mood, and affect the people around me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather just be happy all the time and have that affect people.
But you still allow yourself to feel the emotion of negativity in a sense, or sadness. I mean, I'm sure you're not just like, fucking rainbows and unicorns all goddamn day. I understand, being what you're saying. I just want to make sure the audience understands that you're not just like saying that, you're happy, because you have your emotions, and you're human. But I totally, but your perspective and being mindful, it's like the ego, like we talked about yesterday, putting the ego away. It's like, it's not easy to do, and putting your pride to the side and just being in the flow state with glass.
Yeah, you're still going to feel, those emotions are still going to creep into you. But I think the thing that was important for me was learning to acknowledge them, learning to be mindful of them, and then moving on,
mm-hmm.
rather than, some people, they go to, they might go to Starbucks down there, up here. They go to Dunkin' Donuts, because there's like 4 of them on every street, and they go to Dunkin' Donuts and they order a French vanilla, and they get a hazelnut, and it ruins their fucking day.
Yeah,
it ruins
exactly.
Their entire, and the rest of the day they're just like, because they get the wrong fucking coffee. It's like, man, you got the wrong coffee. Get over it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Those negative emotions still exist in my life, but they're very fleeting. And the rainbows and unicorn thing is actually, it's not too far off. Like I am pretty happy all the time now. I wasn't, but I am now, because I learned to see those negative emotions and not dwell on them.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They happen. And, they happen, and I see them, and I think about why I feel that way, and then I think about, is there anything I can do about it right now, or is there any reason why being upset about it for the rest of the day is going to positively affect that in any way? And pretty much always the answer is no.
Yeah.
So, I kind of just shrug my shoulders, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna push that to the back of my mind, so it's still there, and I'm still aware of this situation. But I'm going to enjoy everything else around me as much as I can until it's time to deal with that situation.
Yeah, man, and I get what you're saying too, because like for myself personally, I'm like by fault, I'm overly optimistic, and I'm learning how to keep that optimism there, but then bring a sense of realism into it, to kind of mute it a little bit, so that I'm not like, oh, this is going to come out perfect every fucking time, or like I will do something and expect that in my head, being positive about it, that this is going to happen, and then it doesn't happen because I wasn't being realistic about the situation to begin with. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so I understand what you're saying, because like I guess my long-term goal is enlightenment in a sense, or whatever you would want to call it. And you got to have that. You got to have that balance of saying I hear it all the time. People getting pissed off. I'm in Starbucks and some dude's got like a fucking 20 shot espresso and they didn't put enough water in it or something, and it like ruins this guy's entire week. I'm like, bro, you got a nice car outside, you got a house over your head. There's people right down the street that are living on the sidewalk, and you're complaining about your fucking coffee. Like those kind of people, I just want to like punch in the face or just say something to them or something. Like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Jesus, I'm spending my last $3 on this coffee. What are you talking about? Which is a lot of times. But but that being said, it's like you just gotta. It's, I guess, when you have an emotion, it's it matters what you do with it. And in terms of what the outcome of your mental space is, you can live in it, or you can say, what the fuck am I going to do about this right now? Nothing. And then you move the fuck on.
And when it comes to that with a glass blower's lifestyle, I think part of that comes back to the business aspect of it. If you put yourself in a situation where you don't have to stress all the time about getting that order done, then you allow yourself to not have those frustrated moments, to not have those days where you need to get an order done in the next like 25 minutes and you can't, and everything's going wrong, and then you get frustrated.
Yeah.
Because we're artists, and to me, I mean, life, every aspect of life should be enjoyed no matter what you're doing. But as an artist, like, I do this because I love it. I do this because it excites me. It's fascinating. It's the thing that I think of all the time. It's a way to express myself. And those times that I had when I would get frustrated with it, and I'd throw something on the floor that I was working on, or I'd say, oh, I can't blow glass today. Nothing's going right. That's taking away from every precious second that I could have working with this medium. And that, to me, wasn't fair to me. Like, I want to enjoy what I do. I love it so much that I want to love it all the time. So even when something goes wrong, I think I was saying yesterday, when something goes wrong, rather than getting frustrated, I look at it, because rather than saying, oh, what the fuck, this thing, because it's not the glass's fault, you fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
If something broke, it's because you did something wrong. You tagged the inside of your seal, or you didn't get something hot enough, or you used the wrong color, you encased it green or something, and now it broke. It's not the glass's fault, it's your fault. So when something goes wrong, I just look at it and I say, oh, fuck, all right, well, what did I do wrong? And then I identify what I do wrong, and I approach it again, and trying to keep negative emotion out of it. Now, like, oh man, I'm a fuck up. Okay, I'm like, oh, what did I do wrong? Oh shit, I tagged the inside of the seal. Okay, let me try it again and try not to do that. And then, usually the next time it goes right.
Yep.
But when you get frustrated, those are the days where the entire day just goes to shit.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and sometimes you get those days and you got to learn just to walk away from it and then just get a fresh start the next day.
And an important thing that I tell people that I've taught, I say, when things aren't going your way, you need to reset. You need to reset your brain. So you need to do something that completely takes you out of what you're doing. So that could be, going and sitting down somewhere and eating a meal, or that could be taking a shit. You go do something like that completely takes you out of what you're doing and brings you into a completely different place. And then when you come back, it's like a complete reset. It's like going back into it fresh. And I always use the taking a shit example for people, and everyone always like giggles when I say it. I'm like, no, seriously, like, do that. And people have then told me, like, later on in life, they're like, dude, that actually works. I'm like, yeah, because you go like, sit down on the throne and close the door, you're in your own little world, and that's something new that you're doing. And then when you're done, now you go back to doing. It's like, okay, now I got to do something else. And you go back to blowing glass, and it's like a fresh start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I talk about like when you're working for yourself to stay disciplined and also to be pretty productive and be able to get on social media or whatever is to work in 3-hour blocks. Like I'll do, like when I was doing my own blocks full time, I would do like 3 to 4 3-hour blocks in a day. And that hour in between, I would go do something completely different. That wasn't. I'd go work out in the yard, or I'd go take a nap, or go for a bike ride. Something that was completely different, or eat lunch, or do my social media, or respond to a message, or email. You know what I mean? And it just made it so where I can come back. Even if I was halfway between a piece, if my alarm went off, I would stop what I was doing and go take my break, and then come back and get that refresh start. And I'm something I'm doing right now with the gig over at the Mouse House too, trying to stay on track, is with my whole new fitness diet. I'm doing this the hell is it called? I'm having a complete brain fart. Anyways, intermittent fasting, where I'm eating in like an 8-hour window throughout the day. So I have I'll eat my meals between like probably 11 to 12 and 8 o'clock. But sometimes I push it up where I won't eat anything all day until like 4 o'clock, and then I'll have like 2,000 calories in like a 5-hour window kind of thing.
That's what Terry Crews does, correct?
I don't know. Maybe.
I think that's how I heard about it. Was like an article I saw that they're saying that Terry Crews does that.
Oh, interesting.
And I read about that, and I've thought about it. It's actually kind of probably what I do inadvertently. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just forget to eat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's where I'm at, man. I guess my point was like I'm at a point now where like if I'm doing my day of production at work, I understand if the piece I'm working on is not going well, it's probably because I need to go eat. I got to recharge and feed myself. So it's like it's just finding, and again, it goes back to being mindful and understanding your body and paying attention. Because when you start pushing through that stuff, if you're in the middle of a long session and you start realizing you're fucking up, it's time to turn your torch off and go walk away for a little bit. Because either you're gonna break your shit, you're gonna burn yourself, fuck yourself up even more so. Just gotta stop and walk away. Which again is why I preach about the 3-hour blocks. I think 3-hour blocks are great because you get a lot of shit done in 3 hours. It's amazing. You can watch a whole movie, blah blah blah, and get a lot of shit done.
It's that reminds me of the way that I do classes when I do classes. You still see a lot of places that they do like an 8-hour class or 8-hour beginner class or something like that, and that's never made sense to me because specifically with beginners, if you have an 8-hour class, well, the stuff you learned in the first hour and a half, 2 hours, you're going to forget by the 7th, 8th hour.
Yeah.
So anytime I've done classes with people, I don't do more than 2 hours at a time. I say, come in for 2 hours, and then I'll let you fuck around for an hour on the torch. That way, everything they learn in those 2 hours is fresh in their brain, and they can just work on that on the torch.
Yeah.
It's important to, in my mind anyway, to break things up, like you said. To have these blocks because. Specifically, I think for people like us that struggle with ADD, if I sit down and I try to go just 8 hours straight on something, I'm going to get to a point where I probably get bored or I get frustrated or I lose my focus, and that's when things start to go wrong, and that's when I'm not at my best. So I do the same thing at work. Like I make sure that I take my breaks. And I actually plan them at certain times of the day. That way, my day is broken up into certain blocks that get a little easier. And when I'm at work at my regular job, I work until 5 o'clock. Well, I take my last break usually at 4:15. I take my last 15-minute break. So I come back from it at 4:30. And then I only have 30 minutes left. Mm-hmm. So after that break, I feel like I'm already going home.
Yeah, dude, you do the same thing I do at work. It's hilarious. I mean, literally, that's exact. I do the same fucking thing. I take my last break. I'm off at 9 o'clock. My last break's at 8 o'clock, 8:30, and I come in, put my shit away, and go home.
Because psychologically, it helps a lot because you come back from that break, you're like, oh fuck, all I got to do is clean up and go home.
Yeah. The worst for me is if I get into something I'm working on and I get, because 4:30 is usually my first break, but if I get into like I think I did it on Saturday night. It was like 7 o'clock and I took my first break and I was like, and I think I did it too because I had a snack earlier in the day, so my energy level was good, and all of a sudden it's like, fuck, it's 7 o'clock, so I take my hour break and then I got to take my half an hour break still, so I guess I'm done working for the day. And that's pretty much what happened. So, but it's cool, like you're saying. And not everybody does it this way, but if you can just be mindful and understand how you work and pay attention to that shit, keep a journal even if you have to write this stuff down, and then just fucking do it and just try different things, try experiment with yourself and just to see what works better for you. And honest to God, man, staying hydrated through this whole process is probably the most important thing that you can do in a mental space to keep yourself going.
Yeah, and one thing I just thought of that I used to do when I was strictly doing production and, back when I used to put in like 12-hour days, just from a psychological standpoint, I would start off my day every single day by making mushroom pendants for like an hour, because that's something that's so easy to do. It's so quick. And at the end of that hour, 2 hours or whatever that you're making those, you look in the kiln and you have a pile of those things and you know that, oh, I just made this much money.
Mm-hmm.
You wholesale them for, $4 or $5 a piece or whatever. And you look in and you got 20 of them in there and you're like, wow, it's like I've got like $100+ sitting in the kiln right now. And that would always kind of jumpstart my day. I'd already feel like I accomplished something. And then I could go on to making everything else, rather than today I'm making double bubblers, and you got to make double bubblers, and the first one goes wrong, you're like, fuck, and you throw that one across the room because now you just wasted all that time, and you got to make another one, and if you mess up the first couple of things, you expect to be making more complicated pieces, like, well, today I'm making inline bubblers, well, the first inline bubbler goes to shit, you just spent like an hour, 2 hours or something on it. Well, now you have nothing to show. Whereas if you go in and you make something very simple, very quick, and load up a pile of those in the kiln, every time you open up that kiln, you look at it, and you're like, oh shit, look at that.
Yeah,
I already have all this in the kiln.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, actually, when I first started this podcast, I was trying to think of things to do as a group, as the audience, and I was like trying to think of challenges and stuff. So the first, I think it was July, was like the second month of the show, I did a 30-day pendant challenge, and the whole idea was if you make a pendant every single day for an entire year, even if you sell them for $20 a piece, you do 365 times 20. I mean, it's like, you make a bunch of money. But if you could sell them for $50 a piece, and you maybe say you do it for 90% of the year, it's a great way to start off your day, and you can make an extra $5,000, $10,000 a year just making these pendants every day, starting off your day. It's take 30 minutes, take an hour. Like you see Salt, for instance, like when he started doing his pendant auctions, he's been doing a pendant auction like every day for 3 years, and he's making a shit ton of money on whether it's a collaboration, but a lot of times they're like they're practice pieces. Jeff Smart goes by J Smart. He does amazing character work, and a lot of times, like when I talk to him a couple times, the way he practices his stuff is he makes a pendant first. He'll make, if he's trying to figure out a character look of it, he makes the head into a pendant. And then he auctions that off, and he has exclusive with a distributor that carries his actual functional work. But he auctions off those pendants, so it gives these collectors a chance not only to buy something that's quote unquote affordable, but it also gives him a chance to practice his piece. He's getting warmed up, he's getting his mind set, he's got his colors. Like there's a lot of going on there. Like I used to pull, like I did my production to start off my day. I'd pull points for like the first hour. I knew I could pull like 50 points, and that was like the rest of my day of my wrap and rakes, whatever I was making. But it was also because I would sit down, like we talked about, revisiting the whole baseline calculations. I knew the formulatic, equation to figure out what this piece was going to take to make it, So I can go all over the place with this, warming up your day with warming up, because it's so important. I mean, fuck, imagine how many studios around this country have piles and piles and piles and piles of like 3 to 4 inch sections of 8 mil laying around that they've never taken the time to piece it back together. That's a great way to start your day. Go back and go through all your shorts and recycle everything.
Yeah,
You know.
that's something that whenever I would take on a student, that'd be one of the first things that, because I always focused on the basics.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, they want to get into it. They want to take a class. They want to learn how to make a rig like the first day, and that's something that I'll never do. Like I'm going to teach you why glass does what it does,
Mm-hmm.
how to make it do what you want it to, and so it's things like that. Like I would teach people, okay, well, your first day you're going to pull apart 7 mil and then put it back together, and doing it by hand, doing it on a marver, um, and because those fundamentals are so important. And there's been you know a handful of people, at least maybe half a dozen to a dozen people that like I help them get their feet wet, and then 2-3 years into it, they put a post on Facebook, thanking all these people that helped me get into class, and my name is never on it. And then 2-3 years after that, they put another post up thanking like people that helped them get to where they are, and I'm always on it. Because then they realize later on, they're like, oh, the fundamentals that you taught me is like what really helped and what really made me, like that base made me what I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what, it's like I'm not. I've used the analogy before when it comes to teaching in general, not just glass, but you could go to a guitar teacher and you could say, I want to learn these 3 songs, and I'm going to teach you the chords you need to play those songs. I'm going to teach you how to play those songs. Does that mean you can play guitar? No, that means you can play those songs. But if you go to a guitar teacher and say, I want to learn how to play guitar, and they sit you down and they teach you why the guitar does what it does and how to figure out those songs, and the key that it's in, or the mode that's in, they'll actually teach you how to play guitar.
Yeah.
I'd rather teach somebody how to blow glass than teach them how to make something out of glass.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I'm glad you bring that up, because I have this online course I'm launching here, and I'm in beta test right now. And the first class I'm doing for the betas are for those that have some glass experience, but it's a critters and creatures class, and it's 6 weeks. It's a 6-week class, and each animal that you make each week, it's a progressive process of learning the medium to get you to the final step. And we're starting off with a manatee on the first week, and a manatee is a real simple shape. You have some attachments for the arms, and you have a little bit of detail on the face. So it's, it teaches you the medium. You learn what's going on. And then the next week we're going to do is going to be a dolphin. It's kind of a similar shape, but not so fat, but then you got fins to add to it. And then I'm going to break down, okay, this is the technique on how you make a fin on a piece of rod. Like I can't tell you how many times when I was learning how to do these dolphin tails on my own, I was just making took a rod of like 10 mil or 12 mil and would go along with whatever glass I needed, because I wasn't even shown how to do it. I had to figure out what's the proper diameter rod to get this amount of mass to make this look of this fin I'm going for. You know what I mean? So I had to experiment with that. And then once it literally has taken me like probably a year of experimenting and fine tuning to where now I could bang a dolphin out in like 10 minutes or less. And it looks like a fucking dolphin. Like I'm, not to kind of humble brag here, but like it's only because I have done it 1,000 fucking, dude, learning how to make these dolphin tails for me personally was probably the most frustrating thing I've experienced in glass blowing in the last 15 years. Like it was, because I know a dolphin tail has a specific look to it. It's different from a whale tail. It's different from a fish. It's different from a shark. Dolphins have very specific tails. So learning and understanding how to do it, and I had someone show me how to do the process, but that was it. It was just I would sit and watch them make these dolphin tails, and I had to like make mental notes, and then
and learning how to do that, I imagine, was probably also a very important step for you in glass blowing, because figuring that out would make you a better glass blower, taking the time to figure that out, and also in the process of, like you said, learning how much mass you need, that helps you in other aspects when you're same thing when you're making a different figurine, or you're making a can for a bubble or something like that,
yeah.
Knowing the amount you use.
Yeah, because that similar technique, like that's why I preach about pulling points, but like to making that fin, I was then able to make bird wings, where now I can make dragon wings. The dragon wings taken me 2 years to figure out how to make a realistic looking dragon wing. But I got it down now. I got it down to a science. But I can also now teach it from the bare bones minimum process of, okay, this is the technique that you practice with. These are the scales that you're doing, going back to the guitar. It's the same fucking thing. You got to practice your scales. Just like you got to practice pulling points. I think pulling points is the number one most important foundational technique that any glass blower can do. Whether you're pulling a point and rod or a tubing, it's still stretching out a stringer or pulling a center that's perfectly round, evenly wall thickness blowpipe. And the way that I teach, like when you remove, it's like, you pull your point, the process I teach to remove the point off the tubing to start off your next point, or whatever you want to call it, is the same technique you do when you do a color wrap, like a body wrap with some color. It's the same process, just wrapping a little bit of glass around the edge of where your mouthpiece on the blowpipe is going to be, and then you can knock that off or stick it in a thing of water and it pops right off. But that process of spinning that color around the mouthpiece is the same fucking technique you do when you're wrapping and raking color. So it's like all these things, and if you sit every day and you pull 50 points from when you start off blowing glass as a newbie, it's amazing how much you're going to understand the medium, because it's like you're saying, I'm not going to teach you how to make anything from the very beginning. I probably have 100 pounds of scraps of all my little shorts that I keep, and I keep those because I not only recycle them myself, but I use those for teaching. I teach you, separate them out. What size is what? I make you go with a marker and write down there, and then you piece them together, and then you build those out and make them longer to understand what it means to be on center. It's like all that shit. Like everything builds up one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. If you just want to just jump in and start making rigs, God bless you, but I'm not going to teach you.
This part of our conversation just reminded me of the Karate Kid, with like wax on, wax off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like in that movie, he's like, oh, what the fuck, I'm just waxing the car. Oh, what the fuck, I'm just painting a fence. And then later on, he realizes that that's the foundation that taught him everything, and that's the foundation of everything else that he knows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's well said. It's a good analogy. It's so true. And I love it, man. And that's why I love this medium, because it's like, like we talked about yesterday in terms of like kind of my mental space where I am now at 40 compared to where I was at 22, 23 when I started blowing glass to where I am now pretty proficient at what I do. I'm not a master by any means, but I'm making things that look like a realistic animal, not just representational, and that it takes a lot of practice. But dude, it's the maturation process of understanding where our ego was then to where we are now, and to where now, like, something fucks up, it's like, okay, what did I do wrong? Instead of, like I was telling you yesterday, like, I literally caught my backyard on fire because I threw a hot piece of fucking glass out there because I was so pissed. It's like, I wouldn't do that anymore. I know that it's not only dangerous, but it's just a waste of my energy. I only got so much energy to give. I'm not going to give that broken piece of glass everything I got,
Yeah, and like you said, now you're making realistic things that actually look like what you're making, and that's like I was saying about my very beginning, my very origin is when I saw the people at Disney, like yourself, making these figurines that looked like what they were supposed to be. Like, they're making a dolphin, they get done, and that's a fucking dolphin. Like, that, such an impact. I mean, the fact that somebody could take glass and make something like that, it boggled my mind at such a young age. And I said, like, holy fuck, like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. I want to do that because it's incredible, and it's, going back to the, not getting frustrated part of it, like, as we mature and we can learn from our mistakes rather than getting upset at ourselves for our mistakes, it allows us to be able to do things like that. It allows us to get to the point where we can, make dolphins that look like dolphins, make manatees that look like manatees, make dragons that look like dragons, maybe.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And I think, and understanding the medium, it's so important just to know the medium, because there's such a difference between hollow and solid. Like, if I want to make a realistic dolphin and that's actually blown glass, that shit is difficult.
Yeah.
So, but it's understanding the medium. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, a friend of mine, my friend Bobby, who I brought up a few times, he, we were talking about different glass, and people say, "Oh, I hate shot because it doesn't fume well," or I only use simax because it fumes this way, or US 33 doesn't fume this way. And something he said to me, and I'm paraphrasing like a conversation that me and him had. All of those different glasses, specifically when it comes to fuming, they all fume a different way. So if you're using shot thinking that it's going to fume like simax, well, it's not. But shot has its own way of fuming that can be very appealing. So pretty much what we came to in our conversation and what he imparted to me was, like I said earlier about when something breaks and you yell, "The glass is beautiful." So understanding the medium, you can take any of those different glasses and get a great result out of them. And if you learn how, if you learn how shot fumes and what it likes and what flame chemistry it likes and what metals it likes and what concentrations it likes, you can get some amazing fume work out of shot. And same thing with simax and everything else. Even clear from China, which I don't ever use, but if I used it, there's probably a way that fumes that other things don't fume. Learning the medium and learning what the chemistry of these different types of glass, that just allows you to become a better artist. It allows you to be able to accomplish more without feeling limitations, without saying, well, I can't use this because it doesn't do this. Okay, well, what does it do?
Yeah, exactly.
It might not do us, but what does it do, and how can you use that?
Yeah, well said. Yeah, and again, dude, that's just mentality too, man. It's just the way you think and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I do something, someone's like, "Why'd you do that?" and my answer is always like, "Why the fuck not?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't mean to cut you off either.
No, I was probably done with what I was saying, I think.
Okay. Well,
I tend to ramble.
Hey, man, me too. So it's all good. but before we go on too long, I gotta get into which is the reason I contacted you. So I found you on Instagram because of your character that you do, your other personality, your alter ego, Jimi the Don. And when I first saw your first post of it, I literally had to watch it probably 20 times and tagged a bunch of friends in it and had to show my daughter even. Like, it's just classic to me. It's what I love about social media is having the ability to just show different sides of who you are. Like, I'm all about showing off my glass and shit, but I'm also about like, this is my family, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. And here is me being just completely fucking goofy or whatever. And you're consistent with it, which I think is killer. So, yeah, man. So let's talk about Jimi the Don. So I like to know his origins and like where that whole thing started, because and like I told you before we started recording, I haven't asked you this yet because I want to hear it fresh along with everybody else, because it's just such an interesting, unique thing that you do, and you guys got to check him out. So his Instagram is @mindfulglass, and I'll have a link in the show notes. And yeah, so let's get into Jimi the Don.
Okay. Well, the name itself actually goes back past the videos. It's a nickname that stuck with me for a long time because I used to throw these big parties and I happened to look like the guitarist from Fish. So everybody like in in this group of people in Rhode Island all like knew who I was because I looked like him and I threw these big parties. So I got this name, Jimi the Don. My friend called me, it was Eddie Hauser from Passive Glass Studios. He called me Jimi the Don of all hippies. And that name stuck with me. And then the way that the videos came about was I was talking to a friend of mine one night, and she was something was on her mind, and I was trying to cheer her up. So I just made a couple funny videos and sent it to her, and she thought they were great. And I showed them to this girl Sarah, one of my best friends, because I thought she'd like them. She was like, "You need to do more of those." I showed them to a few people, and everyone's like, "You need to do more of these." So I started doing these videos, trying to make people laugh, trying to spread joy, trying to show people that life doesn't need to be so serious, And somehow they just, they just became a thing that, you know, I do tend to wear a lot of fur because it's fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
and I do drink a lot of mimosas because they're fantastic. Um, and my friend Sarah, she does these videos on Instagram called life hacks. It's like, this is life hacks with Sarah, and she
Nice.
saw these videos and she's like, oh my god, I have my life hacks and you have your pimp snacks. I was like, oh man, that's like the perfect name. So I have that hashtag pimp snacks,
Nice.
and I originally thought about like having once I was doing more of them, I thought of having a separate Instagram, but I want to do that like because it's all part of me, like you said, like it's a way to show different sides of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I left it all on one on Instagram, and um, I was doing them every Sunday for a while. Recently, I've been kind of busy, so they've been kind of spotty, but I'm just about to go back to doing them at least every Sunday. And it's to it's to show people that life's funny, man. Life's fucking hysterical. I laugh all the goddamn time because it's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
when I make these videos, I try to plan them out, and it never works. I'm always like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna buy a baby watermelon, and I'm gonna buy like I have all these thoughts in my head of all this like weird shit that I can do, and I never end up getting any of the stuff that I need, and I just make it up with what I have around right before I do it. So I got into hollowing out different foods
Yeah.
because I think the first one was because I kept on having this carrot in my sleeve that my friend Adam, I did it once, and my friend Adam, another one of my very best friends, he said, he's like, that needs to be your signature move.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, oh, great idea.
It's, I know I brought that up before we start recording. The carrot in the sleeve thing is fucking hilarious. I laugh every time I see it. I'm like, and I'm expecting it too. So don't stop that.
And that's how the original like hollowed out thing I think came around, because I realized that I had done it enough times for it to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
So then I took a cucumber and I hollowed out a cucumber and put a carrot inside of it. So then, at the end of the next video, when I go to pull this carrot out of my sleeve, it's a cucumber, and I look at it all confused, and then I crack it open and there's a carrot inside. And people saw that, and then I got all these messages, the next day, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's the best one you've done." And then, then I started hollowing out more things, like hollowed out an apple and put pickle slices in it.
Yeah, that was the first one I saw, and then when we did that, and dude, I like it because it's complete two different things that you're just not expecting to go together. I wasn't expecting for you to pull the apple in half, also. So like the way you're doing it, it's well done. Like the production value is great.
Thanks. Yeah, like I said, these things just kind of happen in my brain. Like as I sit down, I'm like, oh, it's time to do pimp snacks, and I just kind of sit down and just whatever happens in my head happens. But it's like I want to spread joy. I want to make people laugh. I want to make people happy. I want to make people see that you can be silly. You can be weird. You can be odd, and it's completely okay. It's what makes life enjoyable. And the fact that I'm making these videos and sharing them with people, and it makes people laugh. The fact that that's why you reached out to me. The fact that people send me messages like saying how funny it was and how much they look forward to them, like that, it means so much to me, because that means that maybe I'm putting a smile on somebody's face. Maybe if just one person in my life, if just one person has who sees the things that I do, maybe it's having a bad day, and then they see somebody like that and it cheers up their day.
Mm-hmm.
That is worth everything. Because life is beautiful. Life is gorgeous. It's funny. It's fun. It's whimsical. And if I can share my my journey with people, and maybe maybe lighten up somebody's day, that means the world to me.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's what I think is cool too, man, is it just goes along with the whole, like, you're not identifying yourself as being just a glass blower. You're not a glass artist. You're Jimmy, and this is all the sides of you. And it's, it's easy to just get stuck in this moniker of I'm a glass blower, look at me. It's like, okay, what are you going to do with this ability to live this lifestyle you could live, and then who are you going to then influence out there while you're doing it? So it's...
I mean, I've barely put glasses on my Instagram recently because I make all the same shit all the time.
Well, that's what I think is cool with your Instagram too. Like, you don't really have a whole lot of glass on there at all.
Yeah, because I'm, like you said, there's so much more to me than that. Like, there's glass on there, but recently I haven't been blowing a lot of glass because I've been very busy.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm getting back into it, this weekend I was blowing glass with, a couple of very important people, Bobby and Melissa, and because I've been blowing a lot of glass recently, I don't need to put up the things that I'm making, but I'm still me, I'm still Jimmy. At times I'm Jimmy the Don. I'm a weird dude. There's a lot of shit that happens in my brain that makes me giggle, and I want to share that with people.
Mm-hmm.
The hashtag that I used for some things, like I think a couple of years ago, and I forgot about it until recently. I've been using for everything recently is smiles tickle. Because
Nice.
to me, like that's like my entire thesis of life is to like smile and laugh and have fun and enjoy it. And I hope that the way that I hope that the things that I share through my Instagram and through social media have that effect on people. I hope that people see it and they just laugh. Hope they laugh and it brightens up their day. They put a smile on their face, and whatever is happening in their life, it just brightens it up. I hope that it affects people in a positive way, because that to me is the most important thing. I want to, like I said, I want to share my happiness. If it was a physical thing that I could slice up like, American cheese, I would make everybody a grilled cheese sandwich with rosemary and bacon.
That sounds amazing. So, just kind of a side note here, you should make Jimmy the Don t-shirts. Just like a high glossy, sparkly, like oval image of you on a t-shirt, dude, and that, like, with your in your seat with the curtain behind you, like your little thing hanging up, and then hashtag pimp snacks. I can go across the back in between the shoulders. Then I have like your little Instagram on there or whatever. That could be your way of do it, man.
I feel like sparkles.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, have it all shiny and sparkly and shit, like some kind of foil gloss kind of thing. But then you could that could be your way of people getting a physical piece of happiness, because then other people will see that shirt and have a smile on their face too.
That's a good idea. They'll kind of be like, what the fuck is that guy doing?
Yeah. Who's Jimmy the Don? I gotta look that motherfucker up. Hell yeah, man. Well, I think right now is a good chance for us to take a quick break and thank our sponsors. And then we'll come back and we'll be time for us to crash the kiln. This segment of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by Zen Dude Fitness. Lose 10 pounds this month by joining the Zen Dude Fitness 4-week jump rope fat loss challenge. Brandon and Dan will take you on a guided journey towards becoming the best you. Get fit, have fun, and find new ways to eat healthy while still enjoying the sweeter side of life. Just takes 20 to 30 minutes a day and no gym required. For more info and to sign up for the free 4-week challenge, go to wiseguymedia.com/ZenDudeFitness. That's wiseguymedia.com/ZenDudeFitness. So let's get crashing the kiln here. And the crashing the kiln round consists of 7 questions. They're short and quick, and if you want to give me a 30 to 60 second answer, and you can also expound upon them, which everybody always does. And the first question I always like to ask is if there is any living glass artist that you haven't worked with yet and you want to, who is it and why?
That's such a loaded question.
Yes.
I'll start by saying Kim Thomas. She goes by Z. I think on Instagram she's iRockZ, because the things that she's doing, they're just morbid and creepy and delicious, and that really appeals to me because I collect dolls and weird shit like that. Also Colton, I really like his style a lot. He's been a big influence in me. Lace Face, because the way that she just, her overall vision of a piece, like as a composition. Emily Marie, because of her shaping and her color, specifically the chromatech or chromatic, or however she pronounces it, like that new line is very appealing. I love colors and I love like those tight shapes. So I would say all those people.
Hell yeah, that's a nice list. Yeah, I'm gonna try and get all those folks on this show for sure. They're on my list. I made a long list the other day of guests I want to bring them on. I'm like, God, I got to bring all these people on here in like the next 5 years. Because like when I first started the show, I wanted to do like one interview a week, and then I was like, well, that's only 52 weeks, and there's like 500 artists right now that I want to bring on. That's like 10 years. So how the fuck am I going to do this? So yeah, I got to get more interviews under and recorded. Do like 2 a week, and then we'll be good. Because now we have
get cracking.
Man, there's like 20,000 plus glass blowers now in this country alone. It's fucking crazy. Not to mention
that's like my pimp. I was going to do one pimp snack a week, but now there's so many things I want to snack on. I need to do more pimp snacks a week.
Yeah, exactly. Like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday or something. So number 2 question is, what are your top 5 favorite colors in glass?
Top 5 favorite colors, I would say transparent green, ice blue, or maybe it's glacier blue. I can't remember exactly what it's called, because I like the way that they, if you reduce them, they get those red halos. I like clear.
Yeah, it's a color.
I would say periwinkle and maybe chartreuse.
Cool. What's your worst injury in the studio?
Haven't really had that many. I've never been the type to pass my hand through a flame or anything. I mean, I've had some pretty deep cuts on my fingers right when I would get to somebody's house to blow glass for like a weekend. So those have been pretty bad. But other than that, I've never really had a really bad injury.
Cool. That's good. Knock on wood here.
Yeah.
When you're in the studio, do you watch TV, listen to music, or do you both?
Music. I listen to music and I sing at the top of my fucking lungs, sometimes really off key, as loud as I can and as weird as I can. It's all about music, and I love the fact that a lot of times when I'm blowing glass, I'm screaming Madonna at the top of my lungs, and
hell yeah,
like people that like outside of the studio are probably listening like, what the fuck is going on in there? Fun is what's going on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's see. I'm trying to think of my questions here. I used to have them written down in front of me, and now I don't. So let's see. We got the person, we got the colors, injuries, music. Oh yeah, do you have any glass blowing themed tattoos?
I do. I have on the inside of my wrists, I have the Italian word vetro, and I have the Irish word gloina, and both of them mean glass.
Interesting. They're just like a symbol.
Well, I got I picked a certain font that I thought looked good in both words, and I had a friend of mine put them on there, and I'm very Irish, so gloina, like that made sense to me. And though I'm not Italian, a lot of our techniques and a lot of the base of lampworking and glass blowing comes from Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of it developed in Italy. So, and the company that I work for is also Italian. So like a lot of the glass we have at work, the product names for the inventory, like in inventory, it's a Vetro 1, a Vetro 10, or something like that. So that also means a lot to me. So I get those two words tattooed on my wrists because they're right, because I use my hands for blowing glass. They're right there all the time.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. If you could describe the sound of glass cracking in one word or a sentence, whichever, what is it?
One word or a sentence.
Yeah, I guess I need to rephrase that. So how would you describe the sound of glass cracking?
The sound of glass cracking, I'd probably say, oops.
Yeah, there you go.
That's probably about it.
Perfect. And the last question is, what are your top 5 favorite tools that are beside your glasses and your torch?
My lungs and my mind, my hands. If we're going to talk about actual physical tools, I would say I have those tweezer jacks, which are really nice. Bail biters for making bails on top of pendants. I use those for all types of shit all the goddamn time.
I don't use those because I've always thought they were a cheap tool. And it's so...
I don't believe in cheap.
I know, that's the thing. It's a stupid way to think. Because I would save myself so much hassle.
People say that about like rollers too. They're like, oh, that's cheating. It's like there's no such thing as cheating. Whatever you use to make your art, it's your art. So because somebody else doesn't use that tool, it doesn't mean that you're cheating. It means that that's how you're creating art.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Bail fitters work for me. My lathe is probably my number one tool. And I got an old beat up Bethlehem that it's not the straightest thing ever, but I can use it and I can make a lot of great things on it, and it means a lot to me. And that and those bail biters, my tweezer jacks, diamond shears, all those things. You figure out the way to use these things, and as you go throughout your career, you learn how to use them in different ways. The bail biters were originally just to make bails and pendants because I made a lot of pendants. Well, now I use them for all types of crazy shit all the time when you need to grab something with more precision than you would get with like a tweezer or with like a piece of formula or something. You can take these bail biters and just bite right into it and grab it and pull it in one direction or the other.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's very true.
Yeah, I use those a lot. I use shears a lot. For cutting a lot of stuff.
I love cutting glass. Isn't that such a weird thing? But I love cutting it.
Yeah. When I first started, I just had a pair of scissors, and
yeah, me too.
And it was so cool to just use those scissors to just cut through glass. And now my shears are still like shitty shears, but they work. And that's something that I would say shears would definitely be pretty high on my list because I do a lot of work with dichroic glass, and specifically like flat. I make a lot of flat things out of dichroic glass, so I end up cutting the basic shapes using my shears, and a lot of times I finish it on a wet saw. But having those shears definitely gets me close to the shape before.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea. I gotta get a pair. I got a couple tools I bought years ago that were like new to the market and were on sale, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting, that I have never used because I'm not really sure what it could be used for. And I pulled those out recently because I'm like, I got to use these for something. Like these were like $75. It's like I have like this weird, it's like an isosceles triangle shaped graphite piece that I thought would be used for like flaring out a foot or opening up like a wine glass or something like that. It's some kind of marber tool or something, I don't know, but I'm looking at it now more of like a carving tool almost for doing shapes and stuff. So I gotta play with it some more. But dude, I'll tell you, my butter knife and my spoon are like my 2 favorite tools that have like multiple uses for all kind of things.
Maybe not a steak knife.
No, I've got a butter knife that came out of the restaurant that I used over Mexico.
You see it in the restaurant, you're like, ooh.
Well, it was one of those days where I forgot my knife, and I was like, shit. And so I asked Patty, who is our main lady there at my store, and she's like, I'll be right back. And she went to the restaurant and brought back 2 different types of knives. And I was like, I will use that one. And now this knife's made like 1,000 Olafs and all these owls and everything else I've done on stage. And I use it. It's perfect, man. It's like it's got a nice balance, But my spoon, too, is like a newer tool that I use for a lot of different cutting and shaping and things. It's fun.
Yeah, that's something I'm just getting back into, like I used to do a lot of sculptural work, a lot of I used to do a lot of sculptures, and I used to do a lot of marbles. That's really like the things that got me into class,
Mm-hmm.
because I you know, as I'm sure you may have done when you were a kid, we used to play marbles.
Yep.
Like, that was an actual game,
Yeah.
and and I grew up doing that. And I grew up playing jacks.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Like most of my, a lot of my friends are 6, 7 years younger than me, if not more, and they have no idea what the fuck that shit even means.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, I used to make a ton of marbles, and I used to make these snails, all called Mortimer, and I used to sell a lot of these snails, a lot of these Mortimers. I used to sell a lot of marbles, and I even made a handful of sets that were I'd make glass jacks and like a marble that looked like a bouncy ball, and I would sell that set, and I used to sell this shit for a lot of money. And then in 2007-ish, when the market crashed, it took the wind right out of those sales, because November used to be a huge month for me, going to craft fairs and holiday shows and everything, and selling a lot of pendants and marbles and everything else that people would give for gifts. I used to make thousands and thousands of dollars in November just going to these fairs and shows. And then in 2007, I think it was, in November, I made $152.
Wow.
And it fucking crushed me, and it got to the point where I used to be at like a concert or something, and I'd have my glass out on a case, and just standing out front of the venue, and people would come up, and they'd look at my marbles and be like, "Oh my god, this marble is fucking sick as fuck! Oh my god, it's changed my life," and all this shit. And people used to pay a lot of money for these marbles, and then it got to a point where people would come up and be like, "Oh my god, this marble is amazing! Oh my god, it's blowing my fucking mind! I just shit myself." And they'd say, "How much is this marble?" And I say, "Oh, it's like $160, $200, $300, whatever." And they say, "Oh, I'll give you $30."
Yeah.
It's like, no, you no, you won't do that at all. Because people at that time, they weren't spending money on things like that. They weren't buying art because they wanted to pay their fucking bills.
Yeah.
And that is really what got me into just making pipes, because it's kind of recession proof. People always want those, just like people always want alcohol. And now that the economy has been turning around and people are starting to spend money on art again, I'm getting more into sculpting and I'm starting to think more about what I used to make, making marbles and making sculptures. And so now I have some knives and some random shit that I use for sculpting stuff, and hopefully I can get good at that again. Specifically because that's what a lot of people are doing. A lot of people are sculpting things, and it's amazing. And I look at these things and I'm like, oh my god, that's what I want to make.
Yeah, man, it's amazing to see where the functional scene's gone from. I mean, it's evolved so much, but the amount of just amazing sculpture work, and then you have the amazing collaborative sculptural work that's going down. It's just I love where the industry's going, and there's some areas about it that I don't care for necessarily, but it's like anything else, ups and downs and goods and bads and whatever. But it's still cool to see where things are going, and the fact that everything we covered today and talked about is so easy to attain if you just make a plan and stick to it, and understand also that when you make a plan, sometimes you got to pivot. Sometimes, like you're saying, you realize that November that you took a shit and didn't make any money, and potentially could have been like lost everything if you didn't have a plan to save some money and have a backup for that.
Well, one thing about making a plan, in general in life, I don't really believe in picking a destination. Like so many people, they were brought up to think that there's a destination. That destination is a white picket fence and 2.3 kids and 3/4 of a cat and half of a dog.
Right.
And that's what life's supposed to be. And when you pick a destination like that, when you say, okay, this is where I want to get in my life, the problem with doing that is that in the meantime, in between achieving that and where you are at the time that you decide that, your mind can change, your heart can change, your outlook can change.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of picking a destination, I like to pick a direction. I like to say, this is the direction I want to go in. And that allows me to take different paths. It allows me to zigzag. And, if along that time I decide that, hey, I'm still going on this direction, but now I want to head this direction. That allows me to change without thinking that I'm failing.
Mm-hmm.
If I just said, hey, I want to be this in the glass world, and I want to be this person, and I want everyone to see this and buy this, and this is what I want to make, and there's so much money I want to make. If I picked all those things very specifically, now I'm putting a lot of stress on myself to achieve those things. And in the meantime, I might become a completely fucking different person. Just in the last 3 years or so, my life has changed so much. And what I thought I wanted 5 years ago, it's still in that direction, but it's not precisely what I thought I wanted.
Yeah,
I had an idea in my head, well, this is where I need to be. I thought that by this age or within a couple of years, I'd be living out in the woods again. I'd still be married. I'd have some kids. I would sit at home and make bombs and butt plugs all day and take care of the kids. And my wife would be, like a nurse or something.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's what I wanted. And now here I am. I'm divorced. I do not have kids. I still make bombs and butt plugs, and I live in the city. Completely different, place that I ended up in that time frame.
Yeah. Yeah, you're completely right, man. Because like when I started doing glass, I mean, I didn't know all I knew was I just wanted to make a bunch of money and pay my bills, and then I was stressing all the time. But like, yeah, I never imagined in a million years, and I tell guests this all the time when they ask me about how I got to where I'm at, and it's like, I don't know, I just had childhood dreams and now they're come true. It's all surreal, the path to get here, but the journey, bro, has been, like you've said before, like I don't regret a damn thing I've done. Like sure there's things I could have done differently, but it wouldn't make me who I am today and where I'm at today if it wasn't for those decisions that I made at those points in time. It's just how we can't live with regrets, and you also can't just save, and then one day I'm gonna retire and then go live my life. It's like, live your fucking life now. Save now for that retirement, but also save now for doing the things you want to do, to go travel, to go whatever, go teach classes in Europe. This glass world's expanding. Take advantage of it.
Like I said, you only live once, might as well die young. Well, enjoy your life while it's happening,
mm-hmm.
but you still need to be mindful of the future. So my life is fucking insane. My friend said last night, he was, this cat that was me, he was petting her and he's like, oh, Jimmy, she has glitter on her. And I'm like, like that's how we do. Every day of my life, I want to laugh and play with colorful, shiny things, but I'm still aware of how long I can sustain that. I treat myself physically very well. I exercise, that way I can dance and blow glass and have sex at a high level for a very long time, because I love all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to, I want to enjoy this life for as much as possible, just in case I can't. Because life is so chaotic and so fragile and so unknown. I want to enjoy every second that I have, just in case something happens. Because you never know. I have friends, pass away all the time, randomly and surprisingly, and you never know when that's going to happen. So I don't want to be the person laying in a bed at 80 years old, looking back and thinking of the things I wanted to do. I want to be the person looking back and with a big smile on my face, oh fuck yeah, I did that. And if I'm laying in a bed and I'm talking to friends and family as I croak and I'm talking about things that happened in my life, I want it to be, I want it to be glorious. I want it to be jovial. I want, everyone to be laughing and these big guffaws from all these things I'm talking about as I, recount the things that I've done in my life. And I think about the things I do in my life, I want to smile about them. And like you said, you shouldn't regret anything. You know, even the bad times in your life, they're showing you what's good in your life. So you should still enjoy those times. Like when something bad happens, there's always something on the other side, and there's always something positive that's going to happen on the other side. It's always going to lead to something. It's going to teach you something. So rather than dwelling on it and be like, oh, fuck, I can't believe this happened, you know, like learn something from it and let your life become better because of it.
Yeah, man. Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. And I was going to ask for some parting piece of advice, but man, you just laid it down, dropped the mic, and walk off stage. Yeah, man, that's awesome. And I love listening to this shit. And this is why I love doing the show, not only for myself in a selfish sense, but also just because this kind of shit needs to be talked about. And it's talked about in other areas and other spaces of the world and business and whatever. But I think the core of the community, we're surrounded in glass. We're not getting outside the glass world. So it's fun to hear that this kind of talk is going on inside our community, because it's so fucking important to have this type of talks. Like, we need to have like roundtable discussions or have like panels at these trade shows that we're talking about this kind of stuff, you know, or doing like our version of our TED Talks, quote unquote, you know, for the glass scene. It's because it would speak to so many people on so many levels about what the fuck life is about. And everybody's life has a different story, you know, and isn't about the same thing, but in terms of like the foundation of our lives and how to reach that point of who we want to be and where we want to go. It's just, if we all keep talking about it, man, and keep doing it, not just talking about it, but doing it, it's going to influence generations to come. I'm excited to see where this industry is going to go because of it.
And that's the only,
as
an industry and as a species, we can evolve. You know, if we continue to talk about these things and experience these things and live this way.
Yep.
So, just like you, I'm very excited to see where this industry goes, because it's been growing so quickly and it's been changing so quickly, and it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Absolutely, brother. Well, again, man, it's I could sit here and talk to you for 3 days, and I'm sure we'll have many more conversations from here. But before we'll say our goodbyes on the air, but hang on afterwards. We'll say goodbye off the air here too. But yeah, so yeah, I definitely am glad we got to do this part 2 and got to get this going. This is a nice long chat, and I think everybody will enjoy everything we talked about. We went all over the fucking place, which is good. Because I definitely dig it, and I definitely respect your perspective and appreciate you taking your time out again to come back on, man. So thanks again.
My pleasure.
Hell yeah. So hope you all enjoyed this episode with Mr. Jimi the Dawn. You guys got to go check out his Instagram. It's fucking hilarious. And you can see his mohawk and everything else he's got going on in his life, including his cat covered in glitter. And yeah, until then. And don't forget, you can check out the show at wiseguymedia.com/165. Until next time, we will talk to you on the next episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show. Take it easy. Peace. This episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by The Flow magazine. Since its inception, the focus of The Flow has been to provide a bond among members of the lampworking community. In every issue, you can enjoy great content with the hottest artists and cutting-edge techniques using the latest industry products. These features, along with the continuation of our Women in Glass edition, Glasscraft Emerging Artist Awards, inspiring gallery showcases, dynamic general interest articles, as well as health and safety information, make The Flow the leading international lampworking journal. For more information or to subscribe to The Flow, go to theflowmagazine.com. That's theflowmagazine.com.